Storehouse Media Group podcast with our host, Sherrie Price Clark of Storehouse Media. Sherrie, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest today.
I am doing great, Neil. Thank you so much. Great to be with you again. And yes, I am excited about our guest today, John Jubilee. Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sherrie. Hey, Neil. Great to be here.
Now,
Yeah.
Sherrie, I've been absolutely impressed. I know you're going to give his accolades. He's unbelievable in his success as an entrepreneur and how he's transforming lives.
Well, talking about the Energizer Bunny, that's John Jubilee. He is a co-founder and owner of Energized Health. And he's considered America's foremost expert on intracellular hydration, which I'm sure he's going to explain to us. He's a visionary behind it and co-founder of Energized Health. And they've helped tens of thousands of people for 30 years. John's been featured across major media outlets, including CBS, Fox, NBC, MSNBC. He's a keynote speaker and has addressed the United Nations. Wow. Wow. So, John, it's really good to have you here. So, tell everybody what Energized Health is.
Yeah, well, I love to share this. And the most important thing I want to share is what it could be for them, right? Because, who's the most important person in the world? And you're the most important person in the world, and your health is the most important. And so, I was just like all of our listeners that we're sharing here and sitting down with today. Back in 1997, 28 years ago, I was bone on bone in both my knees. They said, hey, you just have to have 2 knee replacements, deal with it. That's your only answer. I had hypertension. I had high blood pressure. And I tried everything that money could buy. So I was a very successful banker. I managed a couple hundred bank branches, when I was in my early 30s and kind of rocking the world in banking. And, I was set for life financially, but man, I learned early what Steve Jobs never learned, which is you can't buy your health. It doesn't matter how much money you have. People know Steve Jobs' company is worth $1 trillion, but he died, didn't even live half a lifetime because they didn't value and prioritize his health. And so I really encourage people that, hey, there's only a few priceless things in the world, and one of them is our health. But thankfully, after 10 years of frustration, anybody else out there ever tried a diet and it didn't work? Anybody tried a program and it worked for them, right? They all work for a minute, right, Neil? They all work for a minute. And so everybody's been on a diet and they lost 20 or 30 pounds, but then they gained back 35 pounds, right? I mean, that was my story for 10 years. But in that frustration, I literally, basically kind of cried out to God, like, please, I was praying for an answer. And, but God gives us tools. And, I'm not a smart guy, Neil and Sherrie, but I am a gifted guy. I was born with a photographic memory, and I tested out of 12 years of college math in 45 minutes. I have a unique processor. And the only reason I share that is when I went and researched thousands of pages of science and peer-reviewed studies and all of these, hundreds of millions of dollars of medical studies, to me, my brain simplifies everything. I like things simple. Anybody else like keep it simple? So I broke it down this simple. I thought, hey, the body is just cells. That's all it is. 37 trillion cells. And how do you make a cell healthy? You just have to hydrate a cell. Cells are made to be mostly water, but we are all chronically dehydrated. And I didn't even know how hydrated I was, by the way. And way back then, I had to buy a machine. It cost about $11,000 just to measure my hydration. But I knew I needed to know that. I knew that was the most important health metric, more important than my blood pressure, more important than cholesterol, more important than my A1C. How hydrated was I? Well, can you believe I was about 24 pounds dehydrated? I was lacking 24 pounds of hydration that was supposed to be inside my cells for me to be healthy. And, again, just to keep it simple for everybody, so I created a scientific protocol for myself to get my cells healthy, and it worked. And so 88 days is a cellular cycle of the human body. 88 days later, my bone-on-bone knees, they didn't hurt anymore, which is like a miracle. If you've ever known someone that was bone-on-bone or had horrific joint pain where every step is a step of pain, that was a miracle. And I did lose 10 inches, by the way, in my waist, which is a lot for a man. Guys know if you lose 10 inches in your waist, man, you did something. But here's the amazing part. Take a guess. I lost 10 inches in my waist. I gained all my healthy hydration that I needed. I gained lean muscle. Guess how much weight I lost on the scale, Neil?
I'm going to say none.
None. Right. Good answer. I lost no weight, but I lost 10 inches in my waist. I look like an absolutely different human being. And that's when I realized weight loss is a myth. Weight loss is a myth. It's not about weight loss. It's about fat loss. Now, look, no weight loss on the scale. Take a guess how much fat I lost, because I was measuring how much muscle, how much hydration, how much visceral fat, how much subcutaneous fat. Take a guess how much fat I lost in 88 days.
25%. I'm going too much. 10, 15.
I lost 40 pounds of fat. So just
my
picture a 10-pound
God.
bag of potatoes. I lost 4 10-pound bag of potatoes and didn't lose a pound. So did I succeed? Absolutely, because I transformed. I gained 40 pounds of hydration and muscle. And I got hydrated at the cellular level, which means my hydration didn't go in my body. It went inside my cells. So if everybody would just picture, if you just took a giant, bottle of water, you drink the whole thing. Well, the water got in your body. How much of it got in your cells? None of it got in your cells. It goes right through to the toilet. And that's why it's so frustrating for people today. People are drinking more water than they've ever drank. Everyone knows drink more water. But your cells have two membranes that are blocking. They are there to protect from bad things coming in the cell, but they also protect from the good things coming in there, those cellular membranes. And that's when I filed thousands of pages, in my patent to patent the science of intracellular hydration. How do you get it inside the cell? And that really is the secret, guys. That really is the fountain of youth. That is how people can get healthy at the cellular level, get off all their medication, lose their fat, and literally reverse age 20 or 30 years.
Wow. Go ahead, Sherrie.
Well, I'm just kind of curious that, how did you find out you were 25 pounds dehydrated?
No, that's a great.
Curious.
Yeah. So we actually, now today, so just imagine, years ago, a big screen TV cost like $8,000 and now it costs like $800, right? So back then I bought a bioimpedance device, which back then it cost like $11,000. Now there are some even today at medical clinics or at very high-end athletic establishments, they cost $30,000 for these bioimpedance devices, but there's some that only cost about $100, and they're within 1% accuracy of the $30,000 device. And so we FedEx those to all of our clients across the nation every day. So we have a whole warehouse full of these bioimpedance devices that people can, they'll get this device and then they know what their hydration is. And isn't it amazing, Sherrie, that 99.9% of people have no idea. Their doctor has never measured it. No health expert measures cellular hydration, and it is the number one most critical health marker that we all have.
Wow. And it's very, very critical. It sounds like, and so being hydrated, why is it that people aren't hydrated?
Yeah, well, no, that's a great question. So here's what happens is, we all have, as we age, we have oxidation and we have oxidative stress. It's kind of like when you set the banana out on the counter and then the banana peel gets brown, that's oxidation. So we're all living life. And so as we live life, and I'll ask you guys a question for fun and everybody else can, answer it as well. What's the difference between a raisin and a grape?
The grape is hydrated.
That's right. It's just hydration. It's the same thing. One has hydration and one doesn't, but they look completely different. A beautiful hydrated grape looks completely different than a raisin. You would never imagine that raisin was ever a grape. And that's what happens to us, to all of our organs inside our body. They're becoming raisin. Your liver, your kidneys, your thyroid, Your brain, your heart, your skin is your body's largest organ. And just kind of a fun fact for people, that's why you ever just look at someone and say, oh, they look healthy. Well, how do they look healthy? It's their skin, right? People that are healthy have a healthy glow because if they have intercellular hydration on the inside and their organs are hydrated, of course, their skin is hydrated and they look younger, they feel better, they're more energetic, they carry that energetic vibrancy with them everywhere they go because they have cellular hydration on the inside.
Wow.
So if you don't exactly, your cells cannot get hydrated from drinking water, like you said, because it's in the cellular level. So I guess the other bad thing like coffee and soda and all these others that are accused of being dehydrators, would they affect your cells if water doesn't? I mean, in that way?
Well, they do. They will just accelerate you, turn it into a yeah. No, that's a great question. Now, here's the good news. First, I just want to encourage people that when you have intercellular hydration, you could still drink your coffee. You could drink your Diet Coke in moderation because you have healthy hydration, which is like a river of living water flowing through you. And it just flushes all that out because those are diuretics. They dehydrate us. So our coffee is a dehydrator. So we teach our clients, hey, drink your coffee in the morning, but just make sure you have extra water during the day. But we're also putting them through a scientific, medically approved protocol that opens up their cell like a porous sponge. So it's different. They're gaining 10 to 20 pounds of healthy hydration while they're getting smaller. So just like me, I lost 10 inches in my waist. I got smaller. I lost my man boobs. I lost my belly. I got smaller and gained 20 pounds of healthy hydration and 20
So
pounds
that's
of
where a healthcare professional will look at you and say you might be overweight if there's a potential to have that, build that muscle without fat in certain ways, right? For BMI and stuff. Wouldn't you agree based on what your technology brings?
Oh, well, you know what? Well, BMI, the history of BMI started in the 1800s, and it was totally just based on weight when nobody was really fat in the 1800s, right? Nobody could even eat enough food in the 1800s to become fat. So BMI is an old health marker. But the healthier health marker is how much hydration do I have? How much lean muscle do I have? How much subcutaneous and visceral fat do I have? That is 10 times more critical than knowing what your BMI is. Because yes, you're exactly right, Neil. And even BMI puts an asterisk disclaimer on it. It says, if you have more lean muscle than the average person, BMI is not a good indicator for you.
Yes,
And so,
athletes and all that stuff. And why do they do that as doctors in the doctor's office? They still haven't figured that out in ways.
well, they're using science that is almost 200 years old, frankly. And I'll just tell you a fun story. Again, I can't even make these stories up. So, I have a lot of kids. I have 8 kids, so I have a big life insurance policy. And when I went to get my life insurance, which was multi-millions of dollar life insurance policy, I had to get all the blood tests and EKGs and blood and urine. And I mean, they do everything to you when you get those big policies. And so first they said my BMI was too high, and they were going to reject my insurance. And then my agent called and said, no, you got to see this guy. Like, this guy's a walking billboard of health. Like, please take this to the head underwriter. So then they took it to the head underwriter, and then they did all these other tests to me. And I came back super ultra preferred. So if you're an insurance agent, I'm sure my insurance agent, 30-year insurance agent said, John, I have never had a client in this category in my life as an insurance agent. You are super ultra preferred. Your insurance is going to be 30 cents on the dollar. So I saved 66% on my insurance because even though my BMI number was way off, my cellular health, my health at the cellular level was beyond anything my insurance agent had seen in 30 years.
Wow.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow. Well, you have a proprietary patent pending protocol. What is that?
So what that is, it's just what it sounds like. It's a simple protocol that people do for 88 days if they want to transform at the cellular level. And so again, I did this in 1997, and since then I've not had one medical doctor visit, not one. I never gained an inch. I never gained an inch in 28 years. So would anybody say that's sustainable? I eat real food, by the way. So I still have twin 11-year-olds and boys and a 14-year-old daughter at home. 5 are up and out. But guess what, guys? We eat at Chick-fil-A, we eat pizza every week, while we're watching football, and we live like a real family. We eat real food every day in moderation. I teach people God gave you taste buds because food tastes good. And that's why nobody wants to diet, by the way, because we have taste buds. Eventually, we want to eat something that tastes good. And so this resets your metabolism back to how you were when you were 17 years old. So no 17-year-old wakes up and thinks, oh, I better be careful what I eat today. I better watch my, better watch my macros, better watch my car. It's like, no, the key is get your healthy cellular hydration so you can live your full, energetic, powerful life, eat everything in moderation for your whole life. And yes, I will give a plug for, I love those Chick-fil-A milkshakes, especially the seasonal ones, when they have the peach and the Christmas peppermint one. So, but we enjoy all those things in moderation in the Jubilee family.
All right. Sherrie, I'm very impressed. John, I think for our listeners and viewers out there, if they want to get started with something like this, what should they do?
Well, a couple of things. So I'm going to encourage people to first of all, be a beautiful, beloved skeptic. Because all these health and programs out there, all these people, when you're scrolling online and they say, eat carbs, don't eat carbs, eat protein, don't eat protein, do steady state cardio, don't. No, we have more information than we've ever had. We're fatter than we've ever been. And we're sicker than we've ever been in the United States of America. So I would encourage people, look, go on our website of energizedhealth.com. But right on our website, we put the links on there to help you be a detective. Do your research. Go look at the Better Business Bureau for 28 years and look at what other people just like you say. Go look on Trustpilot. Go look on Facebook reviews, on Google reviews. Do your homework. And I'll tell you what you're going to find. Tens of thousands of people say, this sounded too good to be true, but this changed my life. And we have over, it's in the tens of thousands. I don't want to exaggerate it, but I'll just tell you, it's in the tens and tens of thousands of people. We have hundreds of doctors, Neil, that got off their medication, that reversed their irreversible illnesses and diseases. And then the doctor said to us, oh my word, this is what every doctor should be trained in med school. You have cracked the code. You went to the root cause, which is inflammation. And you flushed all the inflammation and all the toxins out of those cells. That's why people reverse their joint pain, their diabetes, their high blood pressure, their Crohn's disease, their Lyme's disease, their spinal stenosis, whatever they have. We 100% money back guarantee people. No, it will absolutely change your life. If it doesn't, we'll refund your money in about 15 minutes. So we love helping people, but just go on the website, energizedhealth.com, watch a short master class, and then book a call. There's no pressure. We have no salespeople in our company. Everyone in our company, Neil, across the nation. And by the way, we're one of the fastest growing companies in America. We're Inc. 500, number 256 out of 20 million companies.
Wow.
Fastest growing companies in America. Why? Because we help tens of thousands of people. We really deliver. And this is a medical grade. This is a HSA, FSA Care Credit program. Care Credit values our program at 5 times what we offer it for. But we're trying to help as many people as we can. So I encourage people to do a little bit of research, but then go on that website, book that call, because you can have your best health. You can have your best strength. And I got to share a fun story with people. Because by the way, go ahead and judge me, guys. Look at me. How old do you think I am? Because I'm thrilled to tell you, I am a full-on senior citizen. I am 65 years old. I just recently set the world record for chest press. I did 555 pounds 14 times. And the only reason I share that with you, not to brag that I lifted a bunch of weight, is that I did it as older man. An older man, and I did it as a senior citizen. There was guys half my age, twice my size. They couldn't do 1 rep. I did 14 reps of 555. That's 12 plates if you're a weightlifter. But guys, I say that to encourage you. I have clients in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. They're running marathons. They're climbing mountains. They're running and doing things they never dreamed they'd be doing. And you can have that too, but you got to make a decision and take an action step.
Fabulous,
Wow.
John. Best place people
I'm
can go?
impressed.
Yeah, best place you can go, John?
Energized Health, Energized, ENERGIZED, energizedhealth.com. It will change your life like it changed mine. And we will be with you for a lifetime, guys. We'll love to help you to have your best health and your best strength and energy for the rest of your life.
All right. And go to storehousemediagroup.com if you want all things in publishing, marketing, social media, podcasting. Go to storehousemediagroup.com. Appreciate it, guys. That was the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show on the Storehouse Media Group podcast, guys. Take